Su Chang'an travels to the mystical world where strength is paramount in charge of the disorderly sequence. All 9 days and 10 places are subject to submission. Infer the 9 transformations of dragon transformation and obtain the dragon slaying technique. Infer the ladder cloud leap and obtain the reduction of the ground to an inch. Don't be too rebellious. From then on, Su Chang'an killed through the heavens and all realms under the name of Shura. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Out of order sequence in hand, 9th Prince's Rejuvenation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the small forest, there are limbs and arms everywhere. Blood splattered all over the ground, and the decapitated head stared blankly ahead. Su Chang'an opened his eyes and, from initial confusion to shock, to the fear of his enlarged eyes, finally realized that he had traveled through time. But is this a battlefield? The terrifying scenes from all around, the purgatory of the human world. Immediately, all memories flooded in. Betrayal, attack, the truth turns out to be like this. He stood up and felt a pain in his chest. He touched it and it was a fatal wound that had been pierced through, but now it seems to be scabbing. Moreover, there is a mysterious rune slowly flashing red light above it. In the end, after Su Chang'an touched it, the light completely dormant, as if it had completed the handover with Su Chang'an and disappeared into his body. At the same time, a message flooded into my mind. An out-of-order sequence. Originally, the thing that saved him was called an unordered sequence. Immediately, Su Chang'an stood up and touched the body on the ground. Walking past the corpses of the guards who were clearly protecting him. Obtaining Essence 57. Obtained 155 Essence Elements. Obtaining Essence 33. It's also at this time. Current Martial Arts Holy Emperor Xiantian Record. Treasure, Beginner, Xianyun Thunder Formation, Beginner Level, Willow Sweeping Thunder Technique, Beginner. There are hundreds of techniques, all of which are beginners. It can be seen that the predecessor had a wide range of knowledge, but unfortunately made no achievements. Can infuse essence into martial arts and techniques to obtain corresponding progress. When the essence is insufficient, it is impossible to continue infusion and improvement. Current remaining essence. For 57, this should be the essence extracted from all the dead people on site. Just when Su Chang'an wanted to continue thinking. Found it, the 9th Prince is here. Quick, alert, the 9th Prince is under attack. Protect the 9th Prince. When a group of British military guards rushed over, their hooves trampled on the soil and splattered. Su Chang'an stood among the corpses, giving a feeling of confusion but never panic. Soon. Oh hey, my little ancestor, are you okay? Your Highness, please punish the late arrival of your guards. Yingwu Wei looked around with a look of shock. Your Highness, the sedan chair is ready, and this time we will never ride horses again. As a sedan chair was carried by the Yingwu guard, an old eunuch lifted the yellow curtain representing the royal family for Su Chang'an. Su Chang'an frowned as he looked at the nervous Yingwu Wei and the trembling old eunuch. He was the 9th Prince of the Yu dynasty and was almost killed by an assassin during his spring hunting. Of course, his predecessor had already died, otherwise he wouldn't have gained any advantage. However, since it is his words, he is not as useless as his predecessor, and he still has a disordered sequence. Those who plan against him will eventually suffer the consequences on their own. Under the astonished gaze of the old eunuch, Su Chang'an came to the side of Yingwu Wei and pulled out his matching sword. Suddenly, the English military guard's face turned pale. Although the 9th Prince does not understand cultivation, if you were to kill him, he would definitely not dare to resist at all. And other British military guards were also anxious when they saw this scene. Their protection is weak, not to mention killing a British military guard. Even if they were all killed, they would not dare to resist or complain at all. But under the extremely surprised gaze of everyone, Su Chang'an mounted his horse, grabbed his sword, tightened the reins, and rushed out. "Ah, my little ancestor, you." The old eunuch was shocked. The ninth prince does not know how to cultivate, and usually does not leave the mansion. Even when traveling, he is still served by sedan chairs. Today's spring hunting is only under the emperor's supervision. Emperor Dayu was belligerent and fond of martial arts. And the ninth prince was not appreciated by the emperor because he could not cultivate. At this moment, the ninth prince galloped out on his horse. How can he keep the old eunuch from panicking? Although the ninth prince does not practice martial arts, he is a prince. If there is a mistake, none of them can live. What are you still waiting for? Why don't you follow our family? Do you all want to destroy the 9 clans? The old eunuch flipped over and mounted his horse, with an agile figure. He looked like a person in his 60s, and was no less powerful than those British military guards in their 30s. The other English military guards only then realized. Judging from the situation on the ground, the 9th prince survived a great disaster. If they make another mistake, they really won't have enough heads to chop. Drive. Then dozens of brave warriors rushed out. And at this moment, Su Chang'an had experience in horse training in his past life, so riding a horse was not a problem. And memories keep emerging in the brain. Although you don't know how to cultivate, it's only your fault that you're the prince. It's only your mother's bloodline of thieves who never die. His Highness, in order to clear the obstacles, can only let you die. Before you die, I also want you to be a clear ghost. Jin Shi is our undercover agent planted by your side. Thinking of this, Su Chang'an sneered. Since his good prince brother has already taken action and the royal family is ruthless, don't blame him for being ruthless and ruthless. I immediately left this place of spring hunting. If the crown prince were to know that he was not dead, he would not guarantee that he would still be able to survive if he were to repair the knife again. And at this moment, in the midst of an extremely luxurious battle, the crown prince was carrying a deer he had hunted on his back to seek credit from the emperor. Father, this is a deer hunted by my courtiers. It is now offered to Father, symbolizing that the whole world belongs to Father. A middle-aged man with a national face, dressed in a 4-clawed python robe, looked at the man sitting on the high platform with a smile in his eyes. And there were also 5 men beside him, each with prey in their hands, but compared to the deer, they were not enough to look at. It seems that Infer is leading the way in this hunting. The emperor of the Great Yu dynasty, Su Xian, looked at Su Ying with a satisfied expression on his face. Where's old 9? Seeing all the sons in front of him, but not seeing the 9th son Su Chang'an, Su Yan frowned. Jiu Di is not good at hunting. Perhaps he got lost in the forest, so I'll send someone to find him. Su Yingqian was humble and polite, with a good brother's image. In that case, this spring hunting has come to a complete end and you can come back to the capital with me. Su Qian was incredibly powerful and did not really care about Su Chang'an. After all, this is an era of flourishing military power. Su Chang'an is unable to cultivate, so it is destined that he will not be able to gain his attention. After hearing these words, the other princes all lowered their heads and did not pay attention to Su Chang'an's whereabouts. Just think he got lost in the spring hunting ground. PS, seeking recommendations, collections, reviews, and exciting stories. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Killing the Jin Clan, I don't need any spies around me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The 9th Prince's Mansion. Su Chang'an sat in front of the desk, with a beautiful palace made behind him pressing his brow. The eunuch and Yingwu Wei all knelt on the ground, feeling that their master had changed since returning from the hunting ground. As the saying goes, a life and death crisis is the most transformative, and if it really improves, they will all be proud of it. But if they are scared into losing their minds, then they poor 9th Prince, who lost his mother at a young age and is only in his weak crown, yet he still needs to stir up the terrifying royal disputes. The old eunuch felt extremely heartbroken, but he was powerless. He thought to himself that it was his master who was born into the imperial family. Of course, if the master is wise, he will not sink to this point. The old eunuch's eyes were filled with a hint of melancholy. Although the lineage of the 9th Prince Eunyoung has withered, it has also been hidden and has accumulated a lot of strength in recent years. It has only lost the leadership of the spirit consort and is not in the imperial city. Let's all go out, call the Jin family. Su Chang'an opened his eyes and asked all the people who apologized to leave. If possible, he really wants to kill them all. But after digesting his memories just now, he really had no one available except for these people. Thank you, Lord. The old eunuch looked at Su Chang'an with great concern and led everyone to retreat to summon the Jin family. And at this moment, in a house in the prince's mansion, a woman with excellent figure and appearance constantly paced anxiously inside the house. After learning the news, she was almost scared to death. But she was unwilling to follow a useless prince like this, and the conditions promised by the prince, whether for her or her family, were irresistible temptations. I really hope that trash doesn't come back. With the strength of the crown prince, it should not be difficult to kill a useless person. But a prince. Just as Jin Xiaoyun was constantly conflicted. Jin Shi, summoned by the 9th prince. Upon hearing the old eunuch's words, Jin Shi exclaimed out loud. The old eunuch was momentarily stunned, with a glint of wisdom in his eyes, as if he understood something. The master has changed a lot, and if you want to speak, we remind you to take the initiative, the eunuch reminded. Although the Jin family was not a top-tier family in the imperial capital, they were also prestigious families, and he vaguely sensed something. In this imperial city, the 9th prince is weak. If he gets angry, he will appear passive and fall victim to false accusations. After all, there have been many instances of enlightenment throughout history, but it is not easy to establish a foothold. Jin Xiaoyun was extremely panicked in her heart, but she only nodded slightly. He felt that as a waste of the 9th prince, he had no idea that she had fallen towards the crown prince. Arriving at the dormitory. Your Highness, it's been a tough day hunting in spring today, so I'm sure I'm tired. I'll give you some peace of mind, Jin Xiaoyun said on his way here. Oh, Your Highness, what's wrong with you? Have you been injured anywhere? Seeing Su Chang'an sitting quietly with blood still on her body, her heart twitched, but she still forced herself to calm down and not be chaotic. Before the assassination incident, she had been favored by Su Chang'an alone, otherwise she would not have been able to provide the crown prince with the intelligence she wanted. Sit down. Su Chang'an only said one word. Your Highness, I. Jin Xiaoyun's eyebrows relaxed slightly, and she also noticed Su Chang'an's mistake. At this moment, she had a stern face, as if she had changed a person. But with her understanding of the 9th prince. As long as she gasps and acts coquettishly, the 9th prince will find it difficult to let go of her. Sit down, Su Chang'an said another word. Your Highness, what's wrong with you? Where did I go wrong and make you angry? I won't admit it to you now. Jin Xiaoyun took out his 3-board axe and coquettishly admitted his mistake. Su Chang'an looked at this beautiful woman with good looks. Suddenly, he smiled. Come here. Seeing Su Chang'an smile, Jin Xiaoyun breathed a sigh of relief and twisted her hips to approach Su Chang'an. She extended her lotus arm, wanting to give Su Chang'an a hand. If it's normal, after a few pinches, the priority will change. But suddenly, a dagger suddenly pierced her chest. Your Highness, you. Jin Xiaoyun was extremely frightened. But with a sudden turn of the dagger, it completely shattered her heart and spat out black blood from her mouth. I hate betrayal the most, bitch. Su Chang'an sneered and pushed Jin Xiaoyun out amidst her incredible gaze. Laifu. Soon. The old eunuch walked in and saw Jin Xiaoyun lying on the ground, lifeless. Feilu knelt down directly. Master. Feed the corpse to the dog, then tell Jin Shi that she slipped and fell to death, Su Chang'an said. Yes, Feilu's body trembled. This time, a great panic attacked his body, making him unable to help but doubt whether Su Chang'an had been taken away by some old monster during his spring hunting. But if he asks now, he definitely wouldn't dare to utter a word. At present, he dragged up Jin Xiaoyun's body and retreated. Until now. Su Chang'an finally relaxed a little, and fatigue rushed in like a tide. After dealing with Jin Xiaoyun, an insider, he can finally rest a bit at ease in the Crown Prince's mansion. As for the other British military guards, they are definitely not solid. But it's also not urgent. So, he dared not relax his guard at all. Only when one's own strength becomes stronger, can one not be afraid of Su Ying's persecution, and since Su Ying has already taken action and killed Jin Xiaoyun, it is equivalent to declaring war. Both Su Ying and the Jin family may not give up easily. It's not that he doesn't want to be secretive. If Su Ying takes action, it indicates that some situations have already spiraled out of control, and Su Ying is a bit anxious. Most importantly, he doesn't want to keep the Jin family time bomb by his side anymore. After all, in this imperial city, the relationships are intricate and complex, and he may find it difficult to control himself. However, he touched his chest. No matter what the relationship is, in the face of absolute strength, everything is just a floating cloud. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. In the midst of danger, begin to deduce. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After just sleeping lightly for over 2 hours, Su Chang'an woke up. Within a few breaths of him opening his eyes. Immediately, several palace maids walked in with extremely luxurious items such as food, hot water, and pastries. Su Chang'an frowned, but soon understood that this was the treatment that his prince deserved. Feilu, Su Chang'an shouted. The old eunuch standing outside the door immediately lowered his head and walked in. Master, please give me your orders. Feilu left a slight angle and secretly looked at Su Chang'an. Don't look at me like that. Su Chang'an was also observing whether Feilu, the old eunuch, was trustworthy. Master, please forgive me. Feilu knelt down. The other palace maids also immediately knelt down. You and my master servants don't need to be like this. Su Chang'an waved his hand and immediately, under the care of the palace maids, washed his face, ate a little, and then held back the palace maids. There's no need to serve like this in the future, Su Chang'an said. Yes, Feilu couldn't help but feel a little excited upon hearing these words. Master, it seems that I have really grown up. Feilu, if I remember correctly, you have been with me for 15 years, and it was Yin Yang who asked you to take care of me. Su Chang'an's mother died of a strange illness just 1 year after giving birth to him. My predecessor didn't understand, but as someone who traveled through time, he didn't know the tricks behind it. The old servant's protection is not strong, please forgive me. The eunuch thought that Su Chang'an was calculating the consequences after autumn. After all, the Jin family killed him without asking the reason. This decisive decision has already left the old eunuch extremely shocked. Whether it's a broken jar or a newborn calf not afraid of tigers, it has already impressed him. You are the person left by Yin Yang, and I can trust you. In the future, you will also need to tidy up the prince's mansion, pruning those rough branches and rotten leaves more. Su Chang'an said. Yes, I understand. Feilu's body shook. How he didn't know what Su Chang'an meant, but before being assassinated, his own master definitely didn't have this kind of mentality. My own master, perhaps he has the idea of fighting for the dragon. If that's the case, then however, the crown prince has a strong influence, while the ninth prince is weak and powerless. How can he resist it? How about heading towards, go to the library to retrieve some cultivation techniques, martial arts, pills? Su Chang'an interrupted Laifu's thoughts. Upon hearing Su Chang'an's words, Laifu was taken aback once again and went happily. It seems that he truly realized that strength is the king of everything. Soon, many books, martial arts, and martial arts techniques were presented to Su Chang'an. Those who can enter the royal martial arts are not of the third rate. Heaven, Earth, Xian, and Huang. In front of Su Chang'an, the lowest level martial arts were all ground-level techniques, but according to memory, he had to obtain the highest level technique of the local level practiced by Su Xian. The Dragon Transformation Technique. In terms of martial arts, the most famous feature of the Dayu dynasty was the 9 transformations of the dragon, which were also the pinnacle of the Earth's level. To obtain these 2 royal martial arts and techniques, one must break through to the Purple Dan realm. This world is divided into forging, agility, purple pill, void mansion, life and death, reincarnation, and martial saint. And the predecessor had long been betrayed by alcohol and lust, and the 3 layers of forging were enough, which is also why he was easily assassinated. As for why Suing didn't even let go of a useless younger brother, he had some vague speculations, but there was no time to confirm them now. No matter the 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, or 11th, they are all at the peak of the Purple Dan. In terms of threat, it's never his turn to be a waste. Besides, I have searched through all the books and there is no news about out-of-order sequences. Can it be said that the Royal Library of Dayu also did not know the origin of this thing? Su Chang'an looked at all the martial arts and techniques, constantly flipping through them. Laifu frowned as he stood beside him. He originally thought that Su Chang'an had changed a lot, but when he looked at the martial arts and techniques, they were still the same as before. Master, if you're practicing, this is impossible. Laifu means that practicing is not something that can be reflected in your mind just by flipping through a book. I know, Su Chang'an said 2 words. Laifu dared not say much immediately, but let out a sigh in his heart. My own master may have just become enlightened and needs time to change. But how could he only know? At this time, all the books that Su Chang'an flipped through appeared in his sea of knowledge with names. For example, Woodwan Brocade, Beginner, Tianchan Skill, Beginner Level, 100 Changes Fist, Beginner, there were all sorts of things, and in the end, Su Chang'an's eyes narrowed slightly. Only after seeing the Holy Emperor Xiantian record at the beginning did I bring a treasure. Without further ado, he cannot obtain the Dragon Transformation technique now. The rest are ordinary goods, and he chose the Holy Emperor Xiantian record himself. You go out and guard, don't get anyone close, I'm a bit tired, Su Chang'an said, deliberately yawning. Yes, Lai Fu looked at Su Chang'an and yawned, leaving with wit. Anyway, my master has already enlightened. The cultivation process will take time, but will the Crown Prince give me time? Do he remember how the Jin family reacted after he told them about Jin Xiaoyun yesterday? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Su Chang'an live another life, as the world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Out of sequence, start. Su Chang'an's biggest trump card now is the out of sequence. I don't know if this Holy Emperor Xiantian record carries a precious character or what kind of divine power it possesses. He now only believes that this disordered sequence can give him a chance to turn things around, otherwise he will be left with no bones to be eaten by his Crown Prince brother. The so-called forging body realm refers to cultivating the entire body's acupoints and orifices, opening up the Ren and Du meridians, penetrating the 9 main acupoints and orifices, allowing spiritual power to cleanse the body, achieving a clean and circular state throughout the universe. Of course, the more acupoints are opened, the more spiritual power can be stored and stored. Current remaining essence. 457, Holy Emperor Xiantian Record. Treasure, beginner, 10 years, you have used 10 years to make up for so many years of losses and make up for the hidden diseases left behind by so many years. In 15 years, you will use the essence of heaven and earth to repair the damage and open the first acupoint. In the 20th year, you successfully broke through your second acupoint and felt refreshed. Your spiritual power lingered in your body, making you feel the mystery between heaven and earth. This is the beginning of the Holy Emperor Xiantian Record. In the 30th year, your 3 orifices were completed, and you broke through the Ren meridian. The Holy Emperor Xiantian recorded a small achievement in the 50th year. You could never find the key to breaking through the Du meridian, but the 9 major acupoints had already opened 5 orifices. In the 70th year, you gave up all your identity and sat in the courtyard. Finally, in the evening, you occasionally gained something from watching kites outside the palace and burst through the 6th largest orifice. In the 75th year, you gave up your identity as the prince and experienced life in the imperial city. Finally, you used the essence of heaven and earth to supplement the 9 acupoints, opened the 2 channels of Ren and Du, and the Holy Emperor Xiantian recorded great success. In the 170th year, you finally achieved the completion of the Holy Emperor Xiantian Record. You suddenly realized that apart from the 9 major acupoints, all other acupoints in your body were also opened, totaling 108. You were also preparing to break through the forging body and begin to condense the purple pill. Currently, there are 287 remaining essence points. My own longevity has increased by 80 years due to breaking through ordinary customs and stepping into the purple pill. Su Chang'an opened his eyes and saw this precious treasure of the Holy Emperor Xiantian Record. It took him 170 years to enter the Purple Dan realm, and it seemed that his predecessor was not suitable for cultivation. However, the biggest gain was the opening of 108 other small orifices. Grasping his palm slightly, he felt that his 9-layer peak of forging could kill the Purple Pill realm with just one punch. The Purple Dan realm was nothing during the reign of Emperor Yu, not to mention that it had not yet gathered. I made a slight induction. It is truly wonderful to have increased one's lifespan by several decades before forging into the Purple Dan realm. Genius is nothing but this. Lai Fu stood at the door, breathing like a sea. It was obvious that his mother had left him at least a servant in the Void Mansion realm, and even those English martial guards were cultivators in the Purple Dan realm. Even so, it's not easy to survive under his prince's brother. Sitting at the desk, Su Chang'an felt the new world of realm improvement. Compared to the increase of Shouyuan, he is more pleased with the pleasure of power running through his body. The 9 major acupoints are transparent, and the 108 acupoints surround them like stars holding the moon. At present, all 4 limbs and bones are a brand new feeling, like falling into an ice cellar in the scorching summer heat, with 35 million cells all over the body groaning, exclaiming that there is nothing like this in heaven and earth. So he continued to immerse himself in it, preparing to directly break through to the Purple Dan realm. Currently, there are 287 remaining essence points. In the first year, you expended a lot of effort, but suffered from the lack of physical fitness and external assistance. Unable to condense the purple pill in the 10th year, you tried your best to cultivate and sat in it, gaining nothing but being damaged by spiritual power and suffering greatly. In the 15th year, you repaired your injury and began to forcefully gather the purple pill according to the Holy Emperor Xiantian Record. However, you felt that the effect was not very good, so you gave up. With pride, you wanted to do your best. Currently, there are 272 remaining essence points. Su Chang'an opened his eyes and stopped continuing the deduction. His current physical condition is too poor, and according to the disordered sequence reminder, there is no external force to help, so the effect of forcibly condensing the purple pill is not very good. If you want to do it, you have to do it the best. What's there to hesitate about with out-of-order sequences? And who is he, the 9th prince? There's nothing in the royal treasury. At least until his crown prince brother Suing realized it, emptying all available resources was the way. Please note that Ling Yunji, who was young, claims to be the best in the world. Su Chang'an will live another life as the number one in the world. No one can be wronged by themselves. Laifu, Su Chang'an said. At midnight, the old eunuch heard Su Chang'an's words and immediately walked out from behind the pillar. Go to the treasure trove to find some pills that can help break through the purple pill. Master, to break through, one needs to fill the 9 orifices. Those precious medicines cannot accumulate in the realm. Taking them indiscriminately will cause no harm or benefit. The old eunuch was taken aback and felt that although Su Chang'an's breath had changed, he dared not think much and reminded him. Even if it took 3 months for the most genius existence of the entire Great Yu to break through from a mortal to a purple pill, it was still in his teens. At the age of his own master's weak crown, how can he compare to the arrogance of that day? It's not that he, as a servant, doesn't believe it, but in fact, he knows Su Chang'an's physique the best. Today's survival from spring hunting is already an eye-opening for heaven. Su Chang'an snorted coldly for a moment. Lai Fu was startled, but still couldn't help but speak up. Although our master may not have much time, being greedy or impatient may not be a good thing. Not to mention talent, if we accidentally fall into that demon realm, how can we end up? Just as Lai Fu and Su Chang'an gazed at each other, they couldn't help but bow their heads. There seemed to be stars in the eyes of my own master, so I didn't dare to say much at the moment. I went to the royal treasure trove to retrieve the top quality pill. I'll go now, but I'll keep talking. Practicing is like building a skyscraper, it requires accumulation step by step, and we must never get lost. Su Chang'an felt helpless. The old eunuch had a childlike heart, but the swallows and sparrows knew the aspirations of the swans. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. The Great Perfection of the Virtual Mansion, Reaching the Peak. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the first year, with the assistance of the top-grade elixir Ju Ling Dan on the ground level, you perfectly condensed the purple pill, feeling comfortable all over. You jumped out of the ranks of mortals, and with one punch, you could withstand 10,000 pounds. The purple pill is 10 times larger than an ordinary person in the 10th year. You continued to realize that the Holy Emperor Xiantian record is a rare skill in heaven and earth. Whether it is spiritual power absorption or perception, it is excellent. The Holy Emperor Xiantian record is complete, but there is still a long way to go before the Broken Pill Mansion is completed in the 20th year. With the help of elixirs, you finally broke the pill and became a mansion. 10 times the purple pill transformed into an endless spiritual sea. In your eyes, ordinary martial artists were like ants. You feel like you can kill a strong opponent of the same level with a single punch when you first enter the Void Mansion. This is the confidence that the Strength Belt brings you in the 30th year. Although you broke the pill and became a mansion, you were tired of it due to your qualifications in the 70th year. With the assistance of elixirs and the Holy Emperor's Xiantian record, your spiritual sea has expanded countless times. Even the proud sons of heaven hold you in high regard, and the virtual realm has reached its peak. Current remaining essence 202. When Su Chang'an opened his eyes again, Dongfang had already turned a fish belly white, but he could already sense that the realm of Laifu was only in the middle stage of the virtual mansion realm. If you want to kill it, you can flip your hand. Su Chang'an smiled slightly. So far, he has only slightly developed the ability to protect himself. Placed throughout the entire Great Yu. The Crown Prince's brother Suing is probably only in the early stages of the Su Mansion, but the Father Emperor is already at the peak of his spiritual soul and is fully attacking the realm of life and death. Although the realm has been elevated, there is currently no martial arts for attacking. Among countless martial arts, Su Chang'an has no particular interest. So, at dawn, he walked out of the 9th Prince's mansion and went to the royal treasury to retrieve the 9 transformations of the dragon. Master, you. The eunuch felt that Su Chang'an's aura had returned to ordinary, but it was completely different from yesterday. And what he couldn't sense even in the middle of the virtual realm, unless that was just a result. That is, Su Chang'an's realm surpasses him, but how could it be possible for a mortal to break through to the late stage of the Su mansion overnight? Lai Fu can only comfort himself, because he was enlightened by his own master and became a bit anxious. Go to the treasury. Although Su Chang'an stayed up all night, his cultivation at the peak of the Su mansion not only kept him healthy, but also unaffected. This is the strength of a martial artist, who can fight for days and nights without hesitation. Yes. Lai Fu didn't dare to think too much, because Su Chang'an had already left the prince's mansion with great strides. There are still Yingwu guards and his guardians in this prince's mansion, so it's not necessarily true if you leave the prince's mansion. Previously, the crown prince had already done something cruel. Lai Fu dared not be careless and followed closely behind, only to find Su Chang'an sitting in the yellow sedan chair. Lai Fu was taken aback for a moment, but immediately realized that he subconsciously thought his master could ride a horse. Actually, sitting in a sedan chair is the norm. But Su Chang'an didn't know what Lai Fu was thinking at this moment. He was already at the peak of the virtual mansion realm. Even if someone dared to raid in the imperial city, even if he didn't have martial arts skills, his fists alone would make it difficult for ordinary people to approach. Why ride a horse and enjoy the bumpy ride? Arrived at the royal treasury. At this moment, a woman in a long dress also stepped in from the gate and saw Su Chang'an standing in front of the royal treasury from afar. Jyoga. A pleasant voice came, and the woman was beautiful, with a rosy face and a mid-level cultivation in the purple pill. Ziyuan. Su Chang'an was taken aback. Brother Jiu, why are you here? You don't hate this place the most. Su Ziyuan was taken aback for a moment. Oh, Brother Jiu, it seems like you've changed. I am me, Su Chang'an said, there hasn't been much change. No, Brother Jiu, I just feel like you've changed someone. Su Ziyuan is Su Qian's 14th daughter, and she usually has the closest relationship with Su Chang'an. If we talk about the entire royal family, Su Ziyuan is closer to Su Chang'an, perhaps because the 14th princess did not come from a good background. He was born by Su Yuan and the palace maids. And the lineage of Su Chang'an's mother seems to have faded out of the imperial city after her death, otherwise the crown prince Su Ying would not have dared to assassinate her without fear. So the two of them share the same illness from another perspective, like birds in a cage in this palace. You're the only one who can speak, Su Chang'an smiled slightly. Through his memory, he knew that these 14 sisters were only 15 or 16 years old, with an ancient spirit and a good talent, but unfortunately, Jojo, what are you doing here in this royal treasure trove? Just then, another voice came in, full of mockery. Don't you know that this royal treasure trove requires the purple Dan realm to come? Ziyuan has seen third brother before. Su Ziyuan quickly bowed. As both princes and princesses, there is a huge difference in status. Although the third son Su Han is not as powerful as the crown prince, the Empress Dowager family is also extremely powerful, and is one of the top prestigious families in the imperial city, the Zhao family. And Su Chang'an just looked at Su Han coldly. Su Han frowned. Old Jiu, I heard that you were lost in the hunting ground during the spring hunting. When the emperor rewarded you. Su Han stared at Su Chang'an and spoke slowly. What's with you? Su Chang'an interrupted Su Han directly. Su Han was only at the peak of the purple Dan, and even if he didn't use martial arts, he could have been killed with one punch. You. Old Jiu, don't forget your identity in this imperial city. Su Han's expression was cold. At this moment, in front of the royal treasury, he naturally dared not take action against Su Chang'an, but Su Chang'an's attitude made him extremely unhappy. Why, do you want me to bow down? Su Chang'an suddenly came to Su Han's ear with a cold smile. Are you Su Yan or Su Ying? Su Chang'an, how dare you? Calling your father's name out loud and rebellious. Su Han looked at Su Chang'an and felt incredulous. Today, his once deceitful ninth brother spoke wildly. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. The Wrath of the Third Prince, do you dare to go to war with your roommate? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. However, Su Chang'an ignored Su Han and grabbed Su Ziyuan's soft and boneless little hand. Ziyuan, follow me to the royal treasury, lazy to listen to the noise of mad dogs. Su Chang'an smiled slightly. Su Chang'an, please stop me. Su Han roared angrily. It was enough for Su Ying to suppress him. Even a useless person dared to ignore him, which was hard for him to accept. Let me stop, what kind of thing are you? Su Chang'an chuckled softly, and suddenly Su Han, who was still in a state of turmoil before, saw Su Chang'an as an angry lion. A strong aura pressed against him, causing him to take a few steps back in fear, and his throat became even sweeter as he was already injured. Looking at the disdain in Su Chang'an's eyes, Su Han was shocked and pale. Looking at Su Chang'an again, he became ordinary again. He couldn't distinguish for a moment whether that moment was an illusion or not, and his expression suddenly became extremely gloomy. You dare to fight with your roommate, Su Chang'an. You really want to rebel? Su Han looked at Su Chang'an, but he didn't admit it. Su Chang'an took one step and immediately slapped this noisy waste to death. Fighting with the same roommate is a big crime. Let's not say if he is, even if it is, then what? Give him some more time, Su Han will be killed. Su Han is in a purple pill realm, what should he threaten him with? Jyoga. Su Ziyuan glanced at Su Chang'an with a murderous expression on his face. For a moment, he didn't know what to do, so he had to bite his silver teeth and hug him. At this moment, Su Chang'an is so terrifying and unfamiliar. But he knew that Su Chang'an seemed to really dare to kill, but if he really killed the third prince, Su Chang'an wouldn't be easy. And Lai Fu stood outside the courtyard, hearing this voice, his heart was burning with anxiety. In his capacity, he cannot even enter the courtyard of the royal treasury. His own master has a tough relationship with the third master. If he suffers losses, he has no way to do so. Calling your majesty's real name directly is truly a taboo. As for the 14 princesses, they have no authority or power, and sooner or later they will be sent out. Regardless of whether or not she dares to intervene in the cultivation of the Purple Dan realm, even if she intervenes, it is not considered helpful. Being held by Su Ziyuan, Su Chang'an was taken aback by the touch emanating from his arm. Looking at Su Ziyuan's panicked expression, Su Chang'an could only temporarily withdraw the killing intent. Waste, will I kill you again? Su Chang'an looked indifferent and stared at Su Han. Jyoga, hurry in. Su Ziyuan was afraid that Su Chang'an would go berserk, so she quickly grabbed Su Chang'an and stepped into the royal treasury. Looking at the backs of Su Ziyuan and Su Chang'an, Su Han had a hint of coldness in his eyes. When he was greatly shocked in his heart, he was also puzzled. Just now, Su Chang'an really wanted to kill him, but in the past, a useless person seemed to become so powerful. Hidden clumsiness. According to the informants in the 9th Prince's mansion, it is impossible to hide oneself for 20 years. I heard that the Dayan dynasty is coming to the Dayu dynasty soon. I think Su Ziyuan is quite good, and it's also good to see if Su Chang'an is really tough or fake. Su Han, relying solely on this brief conflict, planned to send Su Ziyuan out for marriage. There is a bit of brotherly affection there. And the royal treasury. An old man opened his eyes and glanced at Su Ziyuan, then his gaze lingered on Su Chang'an for a moment, and his brow furrowed. He naturally knew about the situation in the courtyard just now, but in fact, if Su Chang'an really wanted to take action, he would also stop him. Is the ninth prince here to take the 9 transformations of the dragon? This statement not only stunned Su Ziyuan, but also Su Han standing outside. This old man was worshipped by the great Yu dynasty, with a spiritual cultivation level. Sun Lao, do you know that even the crown prince and grandson need to form a purple pill if they want to take the 9 transformations of the dragon? Su Chang'an is just a waste. Su Han couldn't help but speak up and spoke his heart. Are you questioning me, third prince? Sun Yu looked at Su Han. I dare not. Although he is the prince, Sun Yu is in a spiritual realm and does not need to be bound by worldly rituals in front of him. After all, the entire Yu dynasty relied solely on the worship and protection of these spiritual realms, except for Su Xian, a spiritual peak. They are the generals of the previous generation, or the martyrs cultivated by the imperial court. Combined with Su Chang'an's arrogant and domineering demeanor before, Su Han was shocked in his heart, but then he gave a cold smile. Su Chang'an has stepped into the purple pill. If this news were told to Su Ying, it would not only be exciting, and Su Ziyuan's beautiful eyes widened in disbelief. Thank you, Mr. Sunday. Su Chang'an didn't expect to be seen through by this old man at the door, but it didn't matter. Today he is in the virtual mansion, and in a few days he won't be like this anymore. Hualong Jubian is on the 3rd floor, but you can also go to the 4th floor to take a look, but Princess Changling can only stop on the 3rd floor. Sun Yu originally didn't look at Su Ziyuan in the eye, but at this moment, he also specifically reminded him. Thanks for Sun's reminder. Su Ziyuan was flattered and quickly bowed. She learned the royal rules clearly, and her background was not good. She came to search for martial arts in the future, but this old man didn't take her seriously. Today, Su Ziyuan was called Princess Changling, and she valued a spiritual realm, which surprised Su Ziyuan greatly. At this moment, Su Han's eyebrows furrowed even deeper. Coming here, I have chosen superior martial arts and techniques. He already felt that he was about to break through the purple pill and break the pill into a mansion. As long as he stepped into the virtual mansion realm, his background may not be able to compete with Su Ying. After all, with his news, I know that Su Xian has made a breakthrough. I was surprised to hear that Su Chang'an could actually go up the 4th floor. It's really despicable that our competitors are going to have another top 9 now. Sun Lao, the 4th floor is only accessible to the crown prince and grandchildren of the Shifu realm. Although you have worked hard and achieved great success, this bias may not be too obvious. Su Han never believed that Su Chang'an could have the cultivation level of the Shifu realm. After all, the name of the 9th prince's waist is well known as the imperial capital. Su Chang'an's previous aura, he also thought he was just careless. But Sun Yu had no intention of paying attention to Su Han this time. A waste of 7 or 8 years in the drowsy purple pill realm. How could he know that Su Chang'an could gather his spiritual soul at any time and step into the realm that Su Han could possibly reach in his lifetime? Sun Yu even had a feeling that Su Chang'an really wanted to take action and could wrestle with him in the early stages of his spiritual realm. Brother Jiu, are you really in a virtual mansion? The crown prince is only 27 years old. Su Ziyuan looked at Su Chang'an, his eyes full of disbelief. Practice well. Su Chang'an touched Su Ziyuan's head and went straight up to the 4th floor without refuting. Su Ziyuan stood on the 3rd floor, looking at Su Chang'an's back, unsure of her own state of mind for a moment. She is closest to Su Chang'an, and she naturally believes in Su Chang'an's name as a waste, but she has never been biased. But what is this now? Overnight transformed from waste to genius. But immediately, she smiled and said in a voice that she could only hear, 9 brother, come on. Su Chang'an, who took the last step into the 4th floor, hesitated for a moment before a faint smile appeared on his face. P.S. Please ask for data and give me some confidence. Please take care of the new book. Thank you all. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Inference, Dragon Slaying Techniques, Prince's Killing Intention. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The cultivation techniques and martial arts on the 4th floor are all at the peak of the earth level. There are only 5 or 6 books. Cangfeng Power Sweeping 100 Steps Fist, Remnant, Beginner Level, Xian Hitan Shou, Incomplete, Beginner Level, Su Chang'an Frowned. These 5 or 6 books are all incomplete. Su Chang'an was extremely disappointed that the character Zhen did not appear from the suffix. I don't know if these martial arts and techniques are all fragments, and whether these powerful figures of the Great Yu dynasty knew it well. Dragon Transformation Technique, incomplete, not beginner, Su Chang'an frowned. It seemed that although this dragon transformation technique was the pinnacle of the Earth's level, it was also a remnant. If that's the case, Su Xian's cultivation may not necessarily break through the realm of life and death, but instead he thinks of the actions of the Crown Prince. Su Chang'an suddenly thought of an extremely terrifying consequence, which was that if Su Zhua's breakthrough failed, Su Ying would take over. Even Su Qian has failed. So I went down the 3rd floor and watched Su Ziyuan holding a book called 9 Songs Sword Technique, fascinated by it. Jilga, you. Su Ziyuan was taken aback when she saw Su Chang'an coming down in less than a quarter of an hour. The 4th floor of the Royal Library is the essence of the book collection of the Dayu dynasty. I don't know how many princes and grandchildren want to have a look. However, according to the Royal Iron Regulations, one cannot go up to the 4th floor unless in the realm of Su Fu. Look at yourself, Su Chang'an smiled slightly without explaining. The pinnacle martial arts of the Earth Steps, which were cherished by Emperor Yu, are all fragments, which is truly ridiculous. He obtained the 9 transformations of Hualong on the 3rd floor. I finally understand why the Purple Dan realm can only be learned, because this 9 transformations of the dragon can use all kinds of weapons, and the prerequisite is to rely on the power of the spirit hammer. Without purple pill support, using it will only damage the meridians. I casually flipped through the 9 transformations of the dragon and didn't see any black pages or missed any martial arts techniques that defy the heavens. He returned to the mansion with little interest. Current remaining essence 202. In the first year, you started learning the 9 transformations of the dragon, with a certain appearance, but you didn't get it right. If it weren't for the support of the Void Mansion, it would have hurt you in the 2nd year. Through year-round cultivation, you have gained a slight mastery of the 9 transformations of the dragon transformation. You find that it is similar to the activity of 100 beasts, which opens your mind in an instant and introduces you to the 9 transformations of the dragon transformation in the 10th year. You have proficiently mastered the 9 transformations of the dragon transformation, punching and swinging your legs like a powerful dragon, with unparalleled momentum, achieving great success in the 9 transformations of the dragon transformation in the 17th year. You comprehended the true meaning of the 9 transformations of the dragon, and through countless deductions, the 9 transformations of the dragon actually underwent different changes in your hands. Your power was several times that of a normal 9 transformations of the dragon, and you could slay dragons. With a slight smile, you named yourself the technique of slaying dragons in the 30th year. Your dragon slaying skills were thoroughly mastered by you, capable of wielding a variety of weapons, exerting countless punches and kicks, and undergoing inexplicable changes, making your dragon slaying skills a small achievement in the 70th year. The dragon slaying technique was finally perfected, and you were satisfied. The current remaining essence is 132. Su Chang'an looked at his martial arts dragon slaying skill. Spirit, the Yuan man, and was stunned. The dragon slaying technique after the 9 transformations of Hualong were deduced by the disordered sequence actually had a spiritual suffix, and it took a full 70 years. If we calculate based on the Xianhuang of heaven and earth, there is no record of Zhen and Ling at all. What is this? However, no matter what, at this point, the difference between dragon slaying skills and the 9 transformations of dragon transformation is a cloud and mud. And the Crown Prince's mansion in the Eastern Palace. Third brother, are you serious about this? Su-ing looked at Su-han. Ninth brother, are you really allowed to step into the fourth floor of the royal treasury? I absolutely dare not deceive the Crown Prince, Su-han said. I think Jiu-di has finally gotten rid of his reputation as a waste. I am truly happy for him from the bottom of my heart. Nature. The Crown Prince also smiled slightly, his gloomy eyes flickering. In time, our great Yu dynasty will surely fill another genius. However, although allowed to go up to the fourth floor, I see that Jiu-di is only a newcomer to the Su mansion and has been a bit arrogant. At that time, he was stunned and called out the real names of his father, Emperor, and Crown Prince. Su-han said, maybe even geniuses have arrogance. After all, you, Crown Prince, only entered the Su mansion on the 27th, and even with a slight obstruction, I even injured myself. This spirit, Su-ing put down her wine glass and pretended to be guilty, giving her a guilty glance. But it was discovered that Su Ying's expression was indifferent. After hearing that Su Chang'an had stepped into the virtual mansion at the age of 20, there was no sign of waves. But the Crown Prince pardons me for being too talkative. I'll applaud, Su-han said halfway through, with a look of hindsight as he began to applaud. Hey, third brother, there's no need for us brothers to be so reserved. At home, we shouldn't play the same game as monarchs and ministers. The Crown Prince smiled slightly as he looked at Su-han. Thank you very much, Crown Prince. I won't disturb the Crown Prince's rest in the late night. Su-han left with a drunken expression on his face. And watching Su-han leave behind. Su-ing smashed the wine glass into pieces with a loud bang. Upon hearing the commotion behind him, Su-han's mouth curved with a hint of a smile, and there was no trace of drunkenness on his face. Su Chang'an, Su-ing won't let you go. When you both lose, Su-han will have less trouble, Guohu. Your Highness. The candlelight inside the room flickered slightly, and a man appeared beside Su-ing. You said you killed that useless Su Chang'an with your own hands, how should you explain now? Su-ing looked coldly at Guohu. I did indeed personally pierce the chest of the ninth prince, which is absolutely true, but why? Guohu was also puzzled. Bold, you treat this palace like a fool. Su Yingshu's peak aura was clearly visible, staring fixedly at Guohu. The basket you dug up yourself is up to you to handle. If Su Shi finds out that Su Chang'an is a genius, then Guohu dare not speak up. People believe that Crown Prince Su-ing was in the early stage of the virtual realm, but he suddenly reached the peak of the virtual realm and even touched the threshold of the spiritual realm. Otherwise, the plot would not have been so grand. Give you 2 days, otherwise your Guo family won't stay. Su-ing turned around and left after saying these words. Leave Guohu with a puzzled expression on his face. He is at the peak of a virtual mansion, killing a useless person, and surprisingly, he even produced a moth. I don't believe it anymore. At present, Guohu left the East Palace and headed straight for the residence of the ninth prince. As far as he knows, the ninth prince is just an old eunuch guarding the middle period of the Su mansion, and it is important to note that only those old immortals in the imperial city are alive. It is impossible to sacrifice himself just for the sake of the thousands of people in his Guo family. Moreover, it may not necessarily require sacrifice. Even if the ninth prince steps into the Void Mansion, it is only an early stage. For him, as the pinnacle of the Void Mansion, he is easily captured. PS kneeling down to collect, review, flowers, no data at all, scared to death. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. Shocked, killing the peak of the Void Mansion with one punch. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. At night. Su Chang'an, who was flipping through a book, frowned. And outside the door, Lai Fu suddenly walked into the room. "Master," said Lai Fu with a solemn expression. "Did you also notice?" Su Chang'an said. "There is some unpleasant atmosphere in the courtyard," said the eunuch. "Ah. Master, are you too?" Su Chang'an remained silent, as his aura had already directly targeted the old eunuch who was too vigilant and had entered the room. The old eunuch waved his hand and slapped it, but his palm was stained with blood, vomiting blood and flying towards Su Chang'an. "Someone, protect the 9th prince." Lai Fu was shocked, knowing that his opponent was strong and dared to stab him in the imperial city. However, he only needed to restrain for a moment, and the strong ones in the imperial city would discover. "It's really strange." Guo Hu looked at Su Chang'an in perfect condition, seeing is believing, and was truly surprised. "It's you." Su Chang'an suddenly recognized Guo Hu's voice. "Su Ying is really looking for death." "Master, escape." The old eunuch looked at Su Chang'an calmly, admiring him in his heart, but he was already in a panic. "When was this?" "Escape, no one can escape today. Even if those old immortals in the imperial city come, it may take some time." Guo Hu sneered. "Since the crown prince dares to let him come tonight to kill, there is naturally a way to delay those offerings for a moment. And at this moment, in the eastern palace, with the same flickering candlelight, someone is actually assassinating the crown prince." In an instant, it alarmed the offerings in the palace. "Escape, who said they want to escape, it's up to you." Su Chang'an sneered, crossing his body and punching him in one step under the extremely frightened gaze of the old eunuch. Suddenly, there seemed to be the sound of dragons singing inside the house. The 9 transformations of the dragon. The old eunuch was taken aback. "Humph, you think I am?" Guo Hu sneered, as the 9 transformations of the dragon were the martial arts of the Dayu royal family, and these servants naturally knew. At present, the peak cultivation of the virtual mansion realm is concentrated, and they are also fully bombarded and killed. On this trip, he came to assassinate the eagle and the rabbit with all his might. If time permits, he can still escape from the living sky. If not, killing Su Chang'an would be the greatest protection for his Guo family. Bang! Guo Hu's shock was as extraordinary as that of an old eunuch. At the peak of the virtual mansion, Guo Hu collided with Su Chang'an. His arms exploded and his bones shattered, and his fist immediately hit his chest. Pushi. Slay the peak martial artist of the Void Mansion and obtain 103 essence. Currently, there are 233 remaining essence points. Unable to withstand a single blow, Su Chang'an looked at Guo Hu, who had been smashed and exploded, and spat out 4 words. At this moment, the heroic guards of the 9th prince's mansion rushed into the palace. Seeing this scene, they were all struck by lightning and stunned on the spot. "What's the situation, waste 9th prince, smashing a peak of the virtual mansion with one punch?" "Lai Fu, drag it out to feed the dog," Su Chang'an said as he looked at the stunned old eunuch. "Yes, Lord, Lord." Lai Fu watched as the 9th prince, who had just punched and killed the peak martial artist in the virtual mansion, couldn't help but tremble when he came to his senses. My own master is so unfamiliar, so powerful, so shocking, so excited. Thinking of this, he grabbed Guo Hu's body and walked out the door. 2 minutes later, a strong aura entered the courtyard. An old man was puzzled when he saw the bloodstains dragged in the hospital. "How is the 9th prince?" The old man looked at Su Chang'an and naturally asked if he was injured. "Thank you, senior. Chang'an is safe and sound." Su Chang'an arched his hand. And the old man gave Su Chang'an a deep glance, then turned around and left. Since Su Chang'an is unharmed, he will not stay any longer. These secular struggles, in their eyes, are just minor matters, and regardless of who wins or loses, they have little impact on them. However, if you succeed in assassinating a prince in the imperial capital, it will definitely hit their face, the face of Dayu. That night, the British military guards, servants in the ninth prince's mansion suddenly lost a full 1/3 overnight. The screams echoed incessantly in the dungeon all night long. But Chang'an didn't care about these things. The nails that were previously planted in the mansion, after his cultivation was revealed, Lai Fuzi knew how to do it. And he looked at the remaining essence. Start deducing again. This Holy Emperor Xiantian record has a precious character hanging on it, so it shouldn't be a problem to gather spiritual soul. Su Ying, who was so eager, felt a bit insecure in the realm of Su Fu, where do you had a spiritual realm. The so-called spirit realm is actually a martial artist's contemplation of some techniques to condense a spirit baby. As long as the spirit baby is successfully condensed, even if the physical body is destroyed, it can remain immortal in a short period of time. It can be said that one has truly stepped into the door of cultivation. In the first year, you mobilize the endless spiritual power within the void mansion, imagining the mysterious rules between heaven and earth, but unable to gather your spiritual soul in the fifth year, when you contemplate the Holy Emperor's Xiantian record and feel the great path of heaven and earth. Besides the purer spiritual power, you feel that there are still many opportunities missing, and it always feels like the time has not arrived in the 30th year, as you sit in the mansion. You feel like a waste and even want to destroy your virtual mansion. It seems that there is a problem with the virtual mansion, but the spiritual power inside the virtual mansion is purified into drops of spiritual liquid, like the vast ocean. At this time, you can easily kill ordinary spiritual realms, but still, you are in the virtual mansion, and you decide to go out for a walk. In the 100th year, you have been away for 100 years and feel a bit of wind and frost in your heart. Suddenly, you enter a big mountain, where cranes dance in the clouds and the spiritual charm is extraordinary. In an instant, you suddenly realize the same thing. The Holy Emperor Xiantian record becomes the Holy Emperor Xiantian record spirit under the deduction of the disordered sequence, and your spiritual liquid has long been filled, but at this moment it begins to boil, forming a sea of mountains in the void mansion, which surprises you immensely. In the 130th year, this is the 30th year you have stepped into the spiritual realm. In the endless virtual mansion, there is a young man among the mountains who is no different from you. With his fists, there seems to be a mysterious aura stirring up the clouds and mist in the mountains. You are already in the middle stage of the spiritual realm in the 135th year, it does not seem to be trapped in shackles. The mid-cycle of the spiritual realm continues to evolve, but it still stands still in the 2nd century. After persistent cultivation, you finally reach the peak of the spiritual realm. At this time, you see that the mountains are not mountains, the clouds are not clouds, and you observe the laws of heaven and earth. Everywhere is extraordinary, and the void mansion has expanded countless times. Boundless in the 233rd year, you completely stabilized your cultivation at the peak of the spiritual realm. The mysterious aura lingered but could not be captured by you. You lamented your lack of talent and stopped continuing your cultivation. Remaining essence cannot be inferred, inference failed. Chang'an, who was cross-legged, opened his eyes and felt an endless flow of power flowing throughout his body. In the Guanshu mansion, a young man gazed at him, that was his soul. In an instant, all the cultivation at the peak of the spiritual realm flooded into the body, and then converged. At the same time, he noticed 7 super-strong auras lurking in the imperial city, while another one was extremely sluggish and seemed to be in poor condition. And the strongest breath instantly descended upon the 9th prince's mansion. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Spiritual Realm, Slay the Jin Noble. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Inside the imperial city, several elderly people were extremely shocked and looked towards the direction of the 9th prince's mansion. But that breath flashed by like a flash in the pan. A very strong aura fell, but after hovering over the 9th prince's mansion for a moment, they restrained themselves and gave up. But everyone felt a sense of impending wind and rain. Su Chang'an looked at the old man in front of him. If I remember correctly, this old man should be one of the ones hanging in the royal ancestral temple of Dayu. The spiritual realm has a lifespan of at least 400 years, and the Su family ancestor was extremely shocked when he looked at Su Chang'an. Because he has been at the peak of the spiritual realm for 300 years, but at this time he can't see through Su Chang'an at all. Are you Su Josie, Chang'an? The old man looked at Su Chang'an with some confusion. At this time, Su Chang'an's cultivation level in the later stage of the Su mansion realm was significantly different from the previously exposed aura. But with Su Chang'an's talent of reaching the late stage of the Shifu realm at the age of 20, he was also a top genius in Dayu. I've seen my ancestor in Chang'an. Su Chang'an just spoke, but didn't lower his head. His calm demeanor made the old man look a little higher. Seeing this scene, my eyebrows furrowed, but they quickly relaxed. Su Xian's breakthrough failed and he was about to fall. I didn't expect you to surpass him from the blue, that's great. The old man nodded and greatly appreciated. In time, one can break free from shackles and step into life and death. In his view, Su Chang'an, who came from both the Yu dynasty in the royal family, naturally had a deep bond in belonging to the greater imperial dynasty, and was only 20 years old. He was simply a genius demon. Su Chang'an remained silent. Even the elderly don't care, geniuses have their own arrogance, Dayu reveres martial arts, and the strong are respected. As long as the strong are not from the Su family. As for who sits on the throne, as long as it's the Su family, it's the same. At present, he just burst out laughing twice, saying what to expect from Dian and those external sects to suppress Dayu Yunyun, and then disappeared without a trace. Although this old man is strange, he seems to be wholeheartedly dedicated to serving the great Yu. He did not ask Su Chang'an any questions, did not force anyone to suppress him with righteousness, and did not even spy, giving Su Chang'an some favor. The next day, a fat-headed and big-eared man arrived at the 9th prince's mansion. Emperors and wealthy families, Jin Clan, clan leader Jin Haoran. Su Ying realized in an instant that the assassination had failed again before waiting for Guohu, and immediately instructed the Jin family to seek an explanation from Su Chang'an. At this time, there is at least one powerful person at the peak of the virtual realm in the 9th prince's mansion. Su Ying sensed a hint of threat. Perhaps it was the Su family who infiltrated the imperial city. Then let me see what kind of city you have, Jiu Di, Su Ying muttered to herself. The old eunuch looked at the Jin family with a cluster of eyebrows. Eugene, if you want to become famous, dare to disturb the crown prince's mansion. Lai Fu had a murderous intent in his eyes, and last night's cleansing left him with a murderous intent in his eyes. Facing Lai Fu's tone, Jin Haoran frowned. As both were in the realm of Su mansion, he naturally did not fear an old eunuch. Moreover, with the support of the crown prince behind him, this 9th prince was not enough to be a Taoist. I, the Jin family, once made great contributions to Dayu, and my eldest daughter of the Jin family died inexplicably in the crown prince's mansion. Could it be that the 9th prince wanted to chill the heart of this dynasty's meritorious deeds? The ancestor of the Jin family did indeed have the merit of following the dragon. Just a few hundred years later, the Jin family's bloodline was shattered and no visible strong person emerged. They could only gradually be marginalized and eventually could only maintain their own status through marriage alliances. Jin Haoran brought out the 9th prince, and although it was difficult for Lai Fu to respond, he was not choked. Marquis Jin, you must think carefully. If you make a scene in front of this mansion today, there will be no way out. Lai Fu's tone was quite heavy. Jin Haoran's eyes narrowed slightly, and the old eunuch was already worthy of his title, which was obvious. However, he was at a loss at this moment. Although it was not beneficial to confront the prince, when he remembered the prince's promise and his current status and future as the Jin family, he immediately straightened his shoulders and spoke up. Although our Jin family is not a top-notch aristocrat, we can still meet with your majesty to seek justice. By then, the Su family will be far and wide, but we cannot quench our thirst. Jin Haran knew that the ninth prince was not valued by the emperor, and if he really caused trouble in front of Longyan, Su Chang'an might not have any good qualities. Even implicated in the Su family in the north. And he obeyed the crown prince, even if he did not receive any merit from the dragon in the future, and stood in line early without merit, there would still be hard work. Lai Fu's face twitched. The Jin family was clearly being used as a gun, but such reminders were ineffective, and they even threatened the Su family. It should be noted that the Su family has suffered greatly in the north over the years due to the repeated targeting of Sophie after her departure. If our own master gets it, the Jin family may inevitably suffer the consequences. Justice, what justice do you want? Sure enough, at this moment, Su Chang'an's handsome face appeared at the entrance. Having seen the ninth prince, my daughter was clearly killed by a knife, why is she said to have fallen to death? Jin Haran looked at Su Chang'an and felt that Su Chang'an was indeed different from before. As for where it is different, he cannot distinguish it in the middle of his virtual realm. No wonder the crown prince wants to test this useless person. At the same time, he had some worries in his heart, but on second thought, Su Chang'an's reputation as a waste is well known in the imperial capital. I thought to myself that even if Su Chang'an had a seizure, I wouldn't dare to do anything to him. After all, he bore the credit of his ancestors. Saying it was a fall to death, is to save some face for your old face. Su Chang'an looked at Jin Haran's chubby head and big ears, Jin's misconduct, colluding with internal and external enemies to plot against the prince, death is worth it. Upon hearing Su Chang'an's words, Jin Haran's face changed, but he still spoke up to refute. Don't speak recklessly, ninth prince. Although our Jin family is not talented, our family teachings are also passed down to the imperial capital with a rigorous reputation. This statement from ninth prince will insult the reputation of our Jin family for 100 years. Jin Haran stared fixedly at Su Chang'an. Upon hearing these words, Su Chang'an looked coldly at Jin Haran. I'm giving you face, just a servant. Su Chang'an looked at Jin Haran and looked around. It was obvious that there were several people nearby who were staring at this side, probably the East Palace detective. Is the ninth prince preparing to use his power to suppress others? Jin Haran's face twitched, and Su Chang'an's face was even more fearful than facing Su Ying. Being called a servant in person, although it is a fact, is not like Su Chang'an or a useless prince jumping up in the face. Jin Haran lacks abilities, and his only pride lies in the merits of his ancestors. Su Chang'an grabbed the sword of the nearby Ingwu guard and casually threw it out, instantly penetrating Jin Haran's unresponsive body. He forcefully led his body back more than 10 meters and nailed it to the ground. Su Chang'an, you brutally killed loyal and virtuous people. Our Jin family must go up to heaven to listen, Your Majesty, Your Majesty. Jin Hao never dreamed that Su Chang'an dared to kill people on the street. Most importantly, in the middle of his virtual mansion, he had no fighting power. At that moment, he thought of something, but regret was too late, and his vitality had already been cut off. The whole scene was in an uproar. Lai Fu's eyelids twitched, but at this moment he also spoke loudly. The Jin family is extremely rebellious and has violated the royal authority. They will be executed, and we will not retreat. His gaze swept over the face of the Jin family. Anyone who looks at Lai Fu is always bowing their heads. The head of the Jin family was executed on the spot by the ninth prince during the middle period of the Su mansion. They didn't want to end up in the same fate, so they left with Jin Haran's body in disarray. At the same time, this news instantly began to ferment in the imperial capital. Return to the mansion. Master, although the Jin family has no great power, their ancestors have made contributions. It's not easy for your majesty to explain why you killed Jin Haran. The old eunuch's eyes were full of concern. Explain, what do I need? Su Chang'an looked disdainful and waved his hand to stop the old eunuch's nagging. Not to mention the Jin Clan, he can directly kill the great Yu now. Why bother accepting the anger of villains? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Assassins, dare my child. Seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. From beginning to end. This imperial capital and the great Yu dynasty are not in the eyes of Su Chang'an. With an unordered sequence in hand, he would never settle for a corner. His goal is the vast sea of stars. Cough cough cough. Standing at the top of this world. Seeing the domineering aura in the eyes of his own master, Wai Fu's eyes shook and he realized that his master seemed to have more city and wealth than he had imagined. If that's the case, perhaps we can send a message to the north. Bang! At this time, the Eastern Palace. Waste, Jin Haran that waste. Su Ying smashed the cup in her hand. What a ninth younger brother. You are so secretive, deceiving me so miserably in killing the Void Realm. It seems that you are also the peak of the Void Realm. No wonder that useless Guo Hu is not capable. Su Ying's eyes flickered with a cold light. However, in this world, do you think the peak of the Void Realm is invincible? It's not like you are the peak of the Void Realm. A ruler of a country just needs a fist, but it's not enough. If you kill Jin Haran, this dynasty's merit will not easily let you go. This world is not as simple as you think. Su Ying's mouth twitched and a hint of sneer welled up. This day. Su Ziyuan furrowed her brows and had red eyes in her bedroom, clearly crying. Someone had already come to inform her in the morning that she would be ready to go to Dian with the Dian envoy in a few days. What does this mean? How does Su Ziyuan not understand? Yu had several princesses, even several of them were of advanced age, but no matter which one they were, they all had the support of the royal family behind them. Only she was pitted and became cannon fodder. Marriage is a natural necessity for him. I heard that Dian is a wild land in the western regions, with a strong folk culture. When I thought about it, tears welled up in my eyes again. She wanted to bid farewell to Su Chang'an, but as soon as she remembered what she had heard this morning, Su Chang'an had killed the head of the Jin Clan, which put an end to her thoughts. I think Jyoga is also in trouble now. Although Jyoga has become stronger, he is also too impulsive. Thinking of this, Su Ziyuan worries about Su Chang'an again. And on the other side. The civil and military forces of the Manchu dynasty were all in front of the court. Su Ting's face was a bit pale, but he still sat on the dragon chair, his gaze sweeping across the room. The lingering power was still strong, but his breath seemed unstable. At this time, the youth seemed to be in a tumultuous autumn. Last night, the crown prince, the ninth prince, and even several other princes were assassinated. Is it a spy from the Yen dynasty? You should know that the envoy of the Yen seems to have only 3 people, but behind his back there must be a belly full of bad water. Looking at Crown Prince Su Ying again, his hands were wrapped in a silk scarf, and the assassin was worshipped and killed on the spot. He thought it was a play directed by Su Ying, but upon closer consideration, it couldn't withstand scrutiny. Because these princes are unable to pose a threat to him at this time, there is no need for them to make unnecessary fuss. Su Yan was already not paying attention to Su Chang'an, and these days he has been busy breaking through. He really doesn't know about Su Chang'an's changes. At this moment, his gaze falls on Su Chang'an, and his eyebrows furrow. Taking the present as an example, Su Chang'an is calm and composed, with the highest cultivation level in the virtual mansion realm on his body. When did this happen? By calculation, he hasn't seen this useless Josie for several years. Is it 5 years or 10 years? Yes, it has been more than 10 years, and I haven't been there many times since consort Su left. My concubine Su Yen let out a light sigh. These 9 sons have inherited the talent of Empress Su. Surprise him. No, did the Northern Sioux clan have any ulterior motives? He still remembers that every time the imperial household assessed, Josie was indeed a waste, which was strange. Well, I'm afraid it might not have caused trouble for the Sioux family if they were targeted by others. So it seems that the Sioux family still has some skills, and these 9 sons are not very popular, so they can be considered somewhat sophisticated. Su Ting's mind is constantly changing, and the imperial power is constantly brainstorming. At this time, Crown Prince Su Ying, 3rd Prince Su Han, 4th Prince Su Sheng, 6th Prince Su Kun, 7th Prince Su He, 9th Prince Su Chang'an, and 11th Prince Su Wei were all in front of the court. Su Han's gaze swept over Su Chang'an, and a cold smile at the corner of his mouth flashed away. He used to think that Su Chang'an was an opponent, but killing Jin Haran has already lost him. This achievement of the Manchu dynasty will definitely not support him. As for Old 4, Old 6, Old 7, or Old 11, they are all just in the Purple Dan realm, and the family behind them is not as strong as him. He had already seen that Su Xian was in poor condition before, and it would be time for him to step down and give up his position. But the 4th Prince Su Sheng was incredibly quiet, and the 6th Prince Su Kun's gaze dared not linger on Su Chang'an. Instead, Su Wei frowned as he looked at Su Chang'an standing there, seemingly unaware of what was about to happen. Su Chang'an didn't want to come. However, he wanted to see what Su Ying had in mind. Last night, there was an attack on the Crown Prince, 3rd Prince, 6th Prince, and 9th Prince. Do you all have any thoughts on this? Su Yan's voice slowly fell. The whole scene was in an uproar. Looking at the injury on the Crown Prince's hand again, he was momentarily shocked and pale. Your Majesty, is it the Wolf Court in the north? I think it's Dian. It could also be a barbarian tribe from the south. A few days ago, news came from the south that a tribe had produced top assassins and assassins. I, the Great Yu, have suppressed the barbarians in the south for hundreds of years, and they must have been ruthless. The courtiers spoke confidently, but never made Su Xian speak up. Soon, there was a cold silence. Father, regarding assassins, I dare. The 6th Prince took a step and bent down. Say it. Su Xian looked at his 6th son Su Kun, his face pale. He was almost slapped to death by the assassin last night, thanks to the timely offering. The old saying goes, when you resist the outside, you must first settle the inside. Many ministers were taken aback for a moment, not to mention whether this term was appropriate here. The 6th Prince clearly stated that there were people in the Great Yu court who were eating inside and outside, and had ulterior motives. This is not a small crime. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.